class. Today we are going to study about chapter 2, 2.1. It's about function. So class, I hope at the end of the video you'll be able to understand what is a function, what is the meaning of domain, what is the meaning of range, what is the meaning of one-on-one function, what is the meaning of many-to-one function, and what is not a function. Okay class, so I will start the first learning material by explaining to you 2.1, the definition of a function. Morning class. So today we are going to study about function. So what is a function? Function map our x into our y or fx. Okay, so there are three types of function that we will study today. The first one is one-on-one function. Second one is many-to-one function. And the third one, it's not a function. Alright, so we will start with the first one. Okay, what do I mean by one-on-one function? It means that for every x value that I have, I will be able to get a unique y value. Okay, for example, if I sub x equals to 1 into this equation, 1 plus 2 becomes 3. When I sub x equals to 2 into this equation, 2 plus 2 becomes 4. Okay, so when x is 1, fx or y is 3. When x is 2, fx or y is 4. When x is 3, fx or y is 5. Okay, so this is what I call one-on-one because every x value has its own unique y value. Alright, and just for information, I can actually categorize my x value here 1, 2 and 3 as what we call input or domain. Whereas my y value here 3, 4 and 5, I can consider them as my output. Okay, so all these are all my output after putting my input into the function, or I can categorize all these number as my range. Alright, so if you look at the graph, you can see that every x mapped into unique y, every x mapped into unique y. Okay, now second type, many-to-one function. Why is it called many-to-one? Because I have two input, x equals to 1 and x equals to 2. Both of the input give me the same output, which is fx equals to 1 or y equals to 1. Okay, you can try when input x equals to minus 1 into this equation, you get minus 1 square which is 1, and if you input 1 into the same equation, you get 1 square which is equals to 1. Alright, so we have two input going to one same output. So I call it many-to-one function. Many input for one output, so many-to-one function. Okay, so if you look at the graph, you can see here, this is the output, which is y equals to 1, and the input can be from minus 1 or 1. Okay, so this is many-to-one function. Okay, last but not least, this one. Okay, now I consider this not a function. Why? Because we had two output, so two output obtained from one input. Okay, two output from one input. So if you look at the graph, when my x is equals to 1, which is one input, I can have two output, which doesn't make sense. Okay, that's why I consider the third kind, y squared equals to x, being not a function. Thank you. Class, next, we will study about work example 2.1. Okay, morning class. Now we will take a look at one work example 2.1. So you can see the question. This is the function fx equals to 5 minus 2x. For our x, the domain itself, the value itself, belongs to ordinal number, but the x can only take the value of minus 4, the minimum. The maximum is 5. That means x can take minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so part A question says write down the domain of function f. So this is a function and we are restricted with this domain. Therefore, the domain they are asking, in this case, the x value will only be from -4 to 5 as our answer. Okay. Next, they ask us to sketch the graph of the function. If you want to sketch the graph of the function, we have to take note that this is our function. Okay, so our 5 here is what we consider as the y-intercept, where it cuts the y-axis, and this is my gradient. Okay, the coefficient in front of x. So, which means that the graph is actually a straight line. Why? Because this is to the power of 1, so it's a straight line. The gradient is -2, as I have mentioned, and the y-intercept is 5. So, it's a straight line. Okay, it cuts at 5. Alright, the gradient here is 2. Now, because I know that my minimum value of my x, the domain is -4, I want to check what is my y when my x is -4. So I try to sub x equals to -4 into my equation. Okay, 5 minus 2, the x becomes -4 and I get 13. So when my x is -4, my y is 13. So I sketch this x -4 is 13. Okay, so this is my maximum value for this line with the restricted x equals to -4. Now when my x is at the maximum, x equals to 5, that's my y. So I sub again and I get my y equals to -5. So this is x5 and this is -5 So when I draw a straight line, this is my sketch of the graph. Okay. Now just for information, from y equals to 13 all the way until y equals to -5, these are all the possible value for my y I can take. I call them my range. Whereas the x, which is from x equals to -4 all the way to x equals to 5, this is my domain. Okay, so this one, the sketch is done. Okay, so now let's go for part C. Write down the range. Now the range, we all agree that our range is from 13 to -5. So my answer in this case will be fx, this is my y, okay, or my range will be between -5 and 13 inclusive of 5 and 13. Okay, hope you understand. Thank you. Okay, class. So I hope you understand both example 2.1 and also understand the definition of a function. Now, to check for your understanding, I want you to try exercise 2a, question 1 part A, question 2 part A and part B. Last but not least, question 3 part A and part B. Thank you.